everybody, John Couture back here again with another video, and I'm here with my official Flash review. For once, I'm actually reviewing a Flash episode upon its release, but however, with that being said, I'm here to review The Flash Season 2, Episode 5, titled The Darkness and the Light. Was there some kind of referencing there for other stuff? We'll get into that later. However, I'm here to give you my review for it, and of course, if you haven't seen it, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into The Flash Season 2, Episode 5. Now, obviously, if you haven't seen last week's episode, major spoilers, because you know why? Harrison Wells is back. Yes, he's finally back. Tom Cavanagh is back in his character of Harrison Wells, and I really was, to be realistic and blunt, I was very mixed about that idea. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Tom Cavanagh fan. I love the guy. He's a great actor. He's a phenomenal, he has a phenomenal presence, and his character and performance last year was a major selling point in getting into the show, and he was freaking awesome as Reverse Flash, aka Harrison Wells, aka Eobard Thawne. However, my major problem with him coming back is that I didn't really want him to be the villain again, and on top of that, it just feels like if you brought him back to do that, then it kind of just diminishes the performance he gave last time, and I didn't really want to see that. It just didn't feel like a necessity for him to be back on the show, for me personally. But that being said, after watching the episode in full, he's freaking awesome. I mean, Harrison Wells fucking is awesome. He's completely the polar opposite of the Harrison Wells we saw last time in Season 1, and it works to their advantage, I have to be honest, because you want to know why, folks? He's a no-shit-given kind of guy. I mean, like, Harrison Wells back in the day was the polar opposite from this one. I mean, he's just freaking, he comes in, and he's just like, he's not taking shit for no one. He's bitch-slapping motherfuckers. He's like, look, I'm not Harrison Wells, the one you knew, and if you have a problem with that, I don't really care. I don't care if you like me, because I really don't even care about you. I'm just here to stop Zoom and then go back to my world. And that's basically what he's here for. I mean, Harrison Wells essentially explains that he came to Earth 1 specifically to help Barry stop Zoom, and that would be it, because, as he puts it, Zoom destroyed his world, and on top of that, he is somewhat, responsible for the creation of Zoom, so there's a lot of things to go down with this whole situation, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving this new Harrison Wells. Maybe the hardcore fans will have a problem with it, but for me, I don't feel like it's a big deal. I mean, the CW has a problem when it comes to this kind of scenario, which is being overconfident, especially on The Flash, and being a little too lighthearted with things, and being a little too campy. I know that's kind of like the big selling point with comic book properties nowadays, especially with the advent of Marvel and all that other crazy stuff, where it's like, you have to be smiley, and you have to be happy, and you have to have, a fucking chin upon you. You have to real fucking broad shoulders, kid, and you gotta, you have to work as a team, and we're gonna be happy, and we're gonna train all season to stop the bad guy. Yeah, I don't really like that all the time. It's enjoyable most of the time, but not all the time. And I like the fact that they brought in a new character, essentially the same character, but a new character nonetheless, who's just like, look, I'm not here for that happy-campy fucking bullshit you're selling your kids sugar with. I'm here to fucking stop Zoom, pimp slap some motherfuckers, and get the fuck out of here. That's my purpose. And I like that. I really appreciate that. And it's just good to have a good, strong presence on the show that we didn't really have later. I mean, like, granted, Barry has a lot of strong influences in his life, especially with this season. He has freaking Jay Garrick, he has Joe, and now he has the new Harrison Wells. He has a lot of influences, but he just didn't really have, it's just not the same like Season 1. There's only one real strong influence when it comes to Barry, and that's freaking Tom Cavanagh's performance as Harrison Wells. And now that he's back, it's freaking like we got the gang back together. Of course, it's a different kind of gang, but it's the same gang nonetheless. But that being said, moving off the Harrison Wells stuff, this episode didn't really have anything going for it. I really feel like the best way I can put it is that this episode is hands down the cheesiest fucking episode I've seen all fucking season. And that's saying a lot coming from the CW and their standards, but I'm just saying, like, if you love this episode, that's great. I liked it too, mostly for the Harrison Wells stuff, but Man, was this one cheesy ass episode. I mean, you got freaking Dr. Light, who's Linda Park for some reason, and then you have the real Linda Park, who's doing the journalist thing with freaking, Iris, because if I remember correctly, based off all the hardcore Iris fans keep telling me that she's actually kind of important in the world of Central City, and she's, I guess, a journalist, but apparently that's a whole nother topic video for another day, and, she's the villain, she's come back to Earth 2, yada yada yada, freaking, it's just another, villain of the week kind of thing. I mean, although I will admit that the whole idea of it being Linda Park really bothered me, but also I liked it at the same time. I understand what the CW was doing, and I feel like it was cheesy as hell. It was very CW cheese, and the way what I mean by that is with the major subplot of this episode, which is, of course, boys and girls, Patty going on a date with Barry. Now, if I have explained anything in any kind of details, then you would know that I'm not a big fan of the character of Patty. I'm just not a big fan of hers. I feel like she's just a nuisance, and she's kind of become the new Iris in a lot of ways. She's just one of those characters that the second she's on screen, and I hate to say it, but she's a fast-forward character. The second she's on screen, you just look at your remote, and you fucking press fast-forward, and you don't fucking think twice. That's kind of like what you do when Patty's on screen. And that really sucks because the actress, she's gorgeous, she's wonderful, she has a nice fucking acting skill, if you will, but she just doesn't do it for me. I just don't really care about her character or her arc or her interest in Barry, which, doesn't really make that much sense. And let's just face it. If you, is it really likable, the blind date? Like, the literal blind date? Did anybody really like that? If you did, then I don't know what the hell to say to that, or to retort to that, but I just gotta say, it's just, that was the cheesiest shit I've seen on this show. And I saw frickin' Barry and Caitlyn sing Grease last season. That was fucking cheesy. But this took it to a whole nother level, fucking folks. And I get it. I fully get it. I 100% get it. The Speed Force is strong. But you want to know what's stronger than the Speed Force? Boners. Boners are stronger than the Speed Force, because the second Patty was just like, oh, dates? Let's get numbers together. I'm eavesdropping you at that stupid coffee shop you always go to. It's like, we get what you're doing. I understand. I fully comprehend. And I appreciate the effort, but yeah, it's just not really working for me. So for me personally, I'm not a fan of Patty. I really don't care for her character, and I don't really care about her onward from here. I know that sounds blunt, and I know that sounds probably like a very unfair opinion to have, but I just don't. I really, really don't. And I really didn't appreciate the fact that they kind of changed Dr. Light and made it Linda Park. I mean, I don't want to get into, the multiverses and, all the fucking variant versions of characters that were in the comic books, but, I mean, let's face it, they didn't do it to be all comic book accurate. They did it because the CW wanted some drama, and they wanted to be like, oh, Barry has a new girl, and you know what's coming up, boys and girls? Freaking his ex-girlfriend is the villain of the week. But she's from another world. Ooh, it's just, we're not in the fucking 60s. We're not in the 60s, CW. Why you have to fucking spoon feed me this shit? It's just, this is not something that I care about, nor do I need in life. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the actress who plays Linda Park is wonderful, but she really didn't do anything in Season 1, and Season 2, they made her a villain from Earth 2. Just cause, why not? Just cause, Patty's here. We gotta have some contrast, some CW, risks in the fucking love department, because we know how much we love them fucking relationship statuses, that status quo, if you know what I mean. But for the guy who's past his 20s and fucking doesn't really give a shit about that kind of stuff, it didn't really work for me. So that's all I can really say for that kind of stuff. But overall, the episode was pretty good. It was okay. That's kind of it was a meh, okay episode. That's the best example I can give it. So, final verdict, oh god, I have to give it a good solid 6 out of 10. And the only reason I give it an above average kind of score is mostly due to Tom Cavanagh. Tom Cavanagh is a fucking killer. He's a fucking dominant force to be reckoned with. He freaking destroyed this episode. Hell, I even liked the flashback with him when he was in Earth 2 and he was like doing his Tomorrowland shit with his bullshit technology. I even loved that part, and I loved seeing Jay Garrick actually do something with the Speed Force, seeing as how I'm guessing we're never going to see him again after this episode from the way they kind of left things off. So I really don't know where to go with it, but yeah, Tom Cavanagh was the best part of this episode, and I love the new performance he's given in, and I can't wait to see more. But everything else was just whatever. Like, I didn't really care for the villain of the week. I didn't really like the fact that they changed Dr. Light to fit the whole CW triangle thing. Also, wasn't really big on Patty and Barry's first blind date. Ooh, blind date. You know, like, come on, leave that for the sitcoms, man. Don't put in my DC content. Come on. But yeah, there's that. It just felt like this episode wasn't scored for people like me. They were scored for viewers who are younger than the age of 12. That's kind of like what it was for, like, for boys and girls. Probably mostly girls, but it just wasn't my thing. So that's kind of the best way I can put it. Also, another weird thing with this episode is that I'm starting to find out with the advent of the Supergirl TV show, which is, when are we going to have a TV show that's a superhero TV show that specifically has very strong males and females? We don't really have that yet. And we didn't really have that contrast before, but now that we do have the contrast with the advent of the Supergirl TV show, you can really pick and choose, like, which freaking show does genders better. And I don't really know which one does, because you have Supergirl where you have the chicks are badass, but the dudes are kind of cheesy and stupid. And then you have the Flash and Arrow where you got, like, the dudes are awesome and tough, and the chicks are kind of pointless and useless. With the exception, I guess, Felicity, depending, because you know how hardcore the Felicity fans are if you shit on her at any time, so I get that. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's just that with the guy shows, the guys are awesome, but the chicks are whatever. But with the girl shows, like Supergirl, the chicks are fucking awesome, but the guys suck. I'm just wondering, and this is a big question I want answered, which is, when are we going to have a show where all the genders are awesome? I feel like the only way we'll have that is with maybe Legends of Tomorrow, because it's the closest thing to a Justice League TV show that we have, because we have both male superheroes and female superheroes. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, they even made Hawkgirl a fucking CW chick. Like, how the fuck do you do that? Hawkgirl was a badass. Check out Justice League the Animated Series. She's a badass. And they made her the fucking classical fucking CW chick who's all like, oh, Cisco needs a girlfriend. Oh, here's Hawkgirl for you. You know, wink, wink. It's like, she has a mace that can bash the shit out of that little kid. Why are you treating her like a CW girl? She needs to be a tough superhero chick. I just didn't understand. I'm just saying, like, I understand. It was cool to see her there. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait to see her in Legends of Tomorrow, and especially the Flash and Arrow crossovers once Hawkman shows up, which is an entirely different conversation, which is, I wonder how Hawkman's going to feel fucking Cisco trying to, you know, eavesdrop on his girl, but whatever. I'm just saying, there's a lot of weird shit that goes in this episode. It just felt like the CW writers were like, let's fuck all the superhero fans and let's just get into the CW-ness. Yeah, we need to fucking start creating some, you know, weird judgment calls. It's like, we didn't need this. We really didn't. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a ton of people who love this episode, and that's awesome. But for me, I didn't really like it. And the only thing that was really awesome was essentially just the Tom Cavanagh stuff. And also the reference to Aquaman. I will admit that the Aquaman reference was pretty bitchin'. I'm just saying, if you didn't catch it, folks, spoilers, there's a specific conversation that Jay and Caitlin have before Dr. Light goes all fucking solar flare on their asses. But she's like asking him stuff about Earth 2, and he actually makes a reference to Aquaman, saying like, oh, I knew a dude who was like king of the seven seas, and you know, freaking, I'm paraphrasing of course, but you know, like in my world, Atlantis is above the ground. So there was a lot of really cool stuff to do with that. I don't think that meant anything, because I really find it doubtful now that Jason Momoa is Aquaman. I doubt he's going to show up, the character, if you will, Aquaman, show up on the CW, but I do appreciate the reference, so kudos, because we really haven't had a good freaking episode so far. We really haven't had that, so I think it was just really cool to get some more really good Easter eggs / references on The Flash. But that being said, still Not big on the episode. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was definitely a little bit above average, but it's still not a showstopper. It wasn't, the showstopper that I was expecting with, episode 4, when we got that major twist ending with fucking King Shark and Tom Cavanaugh showing up, all Obi-Wan Kenobi. It would have been just really cool. Also, Star Wars references. There was a shit ton of them. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, too. I'm pretty sure Mark Hamill's going to come back as the trickster, so there's going to be a shit ton of Star Wars references when that comes around. I'm just saying, Star Wars is this December. Shit will be going down. But that being said, overall, let me know what you personally thought about this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you agree with that, what I had to say? And of course, as always, my reviews are subjective. So of course, comment below. Let me know what you personally think. And also, let me know what you personally thought about Tom Cavanaugh returning as Harrison Wells. What did you think about Hawkgirl showing up, the Aquaman reference, and the villain of the week, Dr. Light, and them and CW for some reason changing it to Linda Park? Yeah, there was that. But that being said, let me know what you think. Comment below, let me know. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JohnSk12. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been JohnSk12.